late.
It's true.
We did it. Where's that guy who's supposed to be teaching? Okay, raise your hands above your head. Wait there while you breathe. Through your nose holes.
Through the nose hole.
Oh, God. I don't see I see myself on one screen, but not on the other screen. Is there anybody out there?
I think so.
Oh, that's awesome. Good morning. I think I see some people out there. Let's see here. We got Amy and Jason. Morning and hello. Morning and hello back at yous. So let's see, what time is it? Oh, it's 10:07. Dang, we late, man.
We're super late.
So if y'all don't know, this studio is behind this coffee shop called the Washburn. Washburn's a great place. And even though they're closed and only doing takeout, you still gotta wait for your macchiatos in the morning. But hey, whatever. So hey everybody, must be Saturday morning because I'm here with Ben. We're in the lounge today, and we're gonna be doing a little Saturday morning. Did you hear that thunder last night, Flo? I guess the thunder was this morning though, right? All right. Do we have any announcements, Ben?
Huh?
Any announcements?
Wednesday yoga in the park.
Wednesday yoga in the park, 6 p.m.
Yep.
What's the name of the park? Skinner's Butte, up
Yeah.
there on that big hill. So come on out. It'll be socially distanced, and I think Ben's even going to try to live stream that, and it's going to be a cool afternoon. So good way to start to bring in the summer. Speaking of summer, man, it was so gorgeous the last couple of days. Mm-hmm. What happened today? Freaking Oregon. Anyways, folks, so my name is Chris, and I think I'd like to have us start on our backs today. So as you find yourself ready to kind of start to move towards that direction, just come to lying on your back. And of course, if you want to grab a blanket and a couple of blocks or some books or something like that so you can kind of prop your hips up a little bit, that would be a good idea. The blanket could really just be, you know, for your head, so you can lie back on that. And we'll use that for a couple of other things. But yeah, have a couple of blocks handy, or, you know, a couple of thick books, a dictionary, those World Book encyclopedias from 1984 that you don't use anymore. I know you got them. Just go ahead and grab those and just have them out by the sides. As you come to lying on the back, you know, make sure that you find yourself comfortable here, right? So like pick up the hips and kind of pull the tailbone down towards the bottom of the mat, pick up the shoulders, elongate the back a little bit. Just make sure that you're lying as comfortably as you possibly can. Maybe elevate the head on a blanket or a pillow. Just a little here. We're not trying to take a nap or anything like that. Maybe we are. I don't know. Just bring the arms out by the sides, and what I'd like you to do is just let the legs just kind of flop open. We're going to be here on our backs for a little bit, but we're going to be doing some vinyasa on our backs to get our day started off here. But just like all classes with me, the first thing I want you to do, once you're able to, you know, find that spot where you can just kind of hang out for a few, is just start to bring the attention towards your breath. Just checking in, seeing how the breath is flowing in and out of the body here. And along with the way that the breath is flowing, I'd like to keep some awareness and some attention on the sensation that breath brings. And one of the ways that you can do this on your back is you can take one of your hands, I usually use my right hand, and just place the palm right over your navel. And on the inhale, of course, you know, your belly's going to rise and it's going to lift that hand up. And on the exhale, belly's going to drop, and it's going to, the hand's going to drop with it. So we get this physical sensation of the breath moving in and out of the body. Now we can take the other hand, whichever one it is for you, right or left, and place it in like heart center. When we say heart center in a yoga class, we don't mean place it over your heart, right? We mean the more like spiritual heart center, that area right in the middle of the chest, a little bit above the sternum, but below the collarbone. You can just set your arms there. Well, those are hands, and then just kind of let the arms relax so the elbows can rest on the ground. And we're just going to take some breath in and out here. Just noticing, just feeling, just being here in this moment, just for a moment together. And as you settle in and you start to relax a little bit, you start to step into the practice a little bit more. This is the moment where we can start to take a little bit of control of the breath. And maybe as we do this, we can start to bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet together, just finding a nice loose Supta Baddha Konasana. We don't have to have a super tight bend in our knees or anything like that. And you have those blocks, right? So if you need any support, you can always take a block or a blanket or a book or whatever you got and put it underneath the knees, just so you have a little bit of support. Otherwise, just let the legs flop open. We won't be here for too long in this exact spot anyway. Kind of push the soles of the feet into each other. Pull the knees down towards the mat and start to find a balance between the inhales and the exhales. What I mean by a balance is just starting to find a place where the inhales and the exhales are more or less even with each other. So if you happen to be breathing in, say for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exhale for that same count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just take some breaths like that. In and out through the nose. And as your breath starts to fall in line with the inhales and the exhales, moving towards a place where the breath is balanced, if you start to notice that there's any hiccups or skips or jumps in the breath, maybe just try to identify that part of the inhale or the part of the exhale that's a little bit richer than the other, and we can slow that down a little bit. Other thing to ask yourself if your breath is skipping and jumping is, am I taking too deep a breath? Just because you can take an inhale for a count of 8 or 10 or 12 doesn't mean you have to. Find a place where the breath is balanced and smooth and easy, right? It doesn't have to be hard. Breathing is not work. To like smooth those inhales and exhales out. If you find that you're retaining the breath in either at the top of the inhale or the bottom of the exhale, just start to close those gaps as much as you can. Letting the inhale flow into that exhale and that exhale to flow right back into that inhale in a balanced and smooth manner. And then try to maintain that throughout our practice today. It may mean that the length of the inhale and the length of the exhale changes as we start to do things that might be a little bit more physical. And that's fine. Just try to maintain that balanced, smooth, continuous inhale and exhale. Not worrying so much about the counting. All right, then when you're ready, we can just straighten the legs back out down towards the bottom of the mat. You might want to bring the knees together first, bringing the soles of the feet back onto the ground. Maybe lift the tailbone up and elongate the back a little bit more, and then just go ahead and straighten the legs out down towards the bottom of the mat. Keep the toes flexed this time though, so we're pulling the toes up towards the knees, so we're not letting the legs just flop open. We're not in Shavasana, but we're in Shavasana. Weird. Well, let's just start here. So let's take an inhale and just start to bend the right knee, bringing the right knee up towards the chest. You can interlace the fingers, you can bring them up over the shin, or you can even bring them behind the thigh, whichever is best for you. And then give yourself a little bit of a squeeze there. Taking the inhale, bringing the knee up towards the chest, the toes are flexing up towards the knee. And then exhale, you can maybe just relax the knee a little bit and relax the toes, let the ankle drop. Then on the inhale, flex the toes and the foot again, pulling the toes up towards the knee. And when you're ready to exhale, just let it go. Do that a couple of times. After the next inhale, when you're ready to exhale, just straighten that right leg back down towards the bottom of the mat. With the inhale, just bring the hands onto the shin or underneath the thigh. Pull that knee up towards the chest. Take that inhale, flex the toes up towards the knee. On the exhale, just let the foot relax. Do that a couple times on this side. Inhale, flexing the toes. Exhale, relax. Inhale, flexing the toes. Exhale, relax. So now and with an inhale, we'll go ahead and bring the right knee up into the chest as well, bringing the hands onto the shins, or maybe you can wrap the arms all the way around and grab opposite elbows. And we'll just take a couple of breaths right here. Keep flexing those toes up towards the knee, reach forward with the heels. And breathe. And notice the difference here, breathing with both knees up into the chest, slightly constricting the belly and the chest. So maybe that length of the inhale and the length of the exhale changes slightly here. And take the arms and let the arms come down to the ground. Palms face down, right? And we want the arms to be at about 11 and 3 o'clock, that would be 9 and 3 o'clock. That'd be weird, 11 and 3. 9 and 3, arms straight out from the shoulders. And then look over each shoulder and make sure that the arms are actually straight out from each shoulder and not at 11 and 1, which is where mine always end up. We're going to do some twisting here, but what we'll do when we do these twists is we're going to almost bring the knees down to the ground, and then we'll move over to the other side. So let's just take that inhale. Let's find a little bit of engagement in our bellies, and on the exhale, start to drop the knees over towards the right side. Nice and slow, and then we'll stop when our knees are about, a couple inches up off of the ground. And on the inhale, bring the knees back up towards the chest. On the exhale, we'll drop the knees over to the left side again, bringing the knees down almost to the ground, letting that be the exhale. The inhale will bring the knees back up into the chest, and on the exhale, drop over to the other side again, just moving back and forth through this twist. Letting the knees hover just an inch or two off the ground. Take a couple of those on your own. Of course, it's on your own. I mean, you're not here with me. Jokes are much worse in person, trust me. Do this a couple more times. Inhales, bringing the knees up towards the chest. Exhale, just over to the other side. And okay, the next time you find the knees coming over towards the right side, just let them drop all the way. Take the full twist, bringing the knees down, stacking the left hip on top of the right. And then just take a few breaths here. And if you want to take this twist a little bit further, maybe we can just take a gaze over the left arm. Just a little bit of a counter twist to the neck. Still maintaining that feeling of the breath, the sensation of the breath. Now we'll just move over to the other side. So if you've got the gaze over that right, over the left shoulder, take the inhale, bring the neck back to neutral, then just hold that through the exhale. Then from there we can take our inhale and start to bring the knees back up into the chest, and on the exhale we'll drip over to the left side. And we'll let those knees come all the way down, stacking the right hip on top of the left. And then maybe bringing the gaze over the right shoulder. Oh, hey, Ben.
Hello.
Couple more here. After an exhale, we can bring the inhale. Start to untwist. Bring the neck back to neutral, the knees back up towards the chest. Give yourself a little bit of a squeeze there. And then on an exhale, maybe we can just start to bring the feet down towards the mat with the knees bent, about hips distance apart. I'm going to take a little back bend here. We'll go into bridge pose. I prefer to not have my head on a blanket or a pillow when I start to do back bending or any inversions. So if you'd like to move your blanket or your pillow out of the way, go for it. But you know what? Have those blocks handy, just in case you might want to use them. Bring the hands so they're flat on the ground, and then kind of reach down, try to find the heels with the tips of the middle fingers. And that's a pretty good indication that the heels are underneath the knees with the legs bent. I mean, the heels are always underneath the knees, right? So. And let's just take an inhale here and just start to lift the tailbone and the pelvis up off of the ground. Leave the back on the ground though this time around. Towards the ground. Just exhale there. Just a little pelvic lift at the bottom of that exhale. You're going to find the lower back arches. Inhale, push the lower back into the ground as you lift the tailbone and the pelvis up. And then the exhale, just lower back down. And just do that again. Lifting up the pelvis like you're scooping it up. Exhale, lower. Okay, this time, we'll take that as you push into the feet, one vertebrae at a time, start to come up onto the shoulders, bringing the chest towards the chin. And then on the exhale, lower all the way back down. Inhale, we'll lift up, bringing the chest in towards the chin. Lifting the pelvis up towards the wall behind us, pushing down through the feet, and with your exhale, just let the breath turn back around as we lower back down to the ground. Inhale, we'll lift up. And we can hold this one here. So bring the chest in towards the chin. Lift up on the pelvis, push down into the feet. Squeeze the knees in towards midline. Now, you don't actually want the knees to move, right? You want there to be about a block's distance in between the legs. You just want to have that engagement towards the center. If you'd like to, you can even take your blocks, lie them short ways on top of each other, and then lower the pelvis, lower down, letting the tailbone and the sacrum come right down onto those blocks. And what we really want is the very edge of the end of the spine, that coccyx, right, to be kind of just hanging off the block just a little bit. And then you can just let the body go here, and you can just kind of hang out in this supported back bend here for just a moment. Watching the breath, that balanced, smooth, and continuous inhale and exhale. Now we're going to play with some inversion here. I know it's kind of early in a practice to mess around with inversion when you haven't even stood up yet. So we're going to start slow, okay? So we're already set up, if we're on these blocks, we're already set up for a posture called Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall. And what we want to do here is you want to bring some engagement into the lower belly by pulling the belly button in towards the spine and then up towards the heart. At the same time, you want to engage that lower bandha, mula bandha, by just engaging the pelvic floor, just kind of lifting up there. And then the chest is already coming towards the chin. So we now have all three bandhas engaged here, which moves us from an asana to a mudra. So Viparita Karani, legs up the wall, is actually a mudra. So let's practice that here. Arms on the ground, you take an inhale and bring both legs up. Reach those legs right up towards the ceiling, watching out not to stare directly into the LED lights, and kind of start to look at your toes, which is right where the light is. Good place for me to be, I guess. Now this is a nice simple inversion. You can totally stay right here. And it's not like the next thing is going to be that hard to do. But what we can do here is we can start to bring the hands towards the lower back, and we're going to keep all that engagement in the belly, right? And on an inhale, we'll just lift up off those blocks, bring the hands to the lower back, and let's just go into what is sort of known as a shoulder stand, but is still Viparita Karani because you're supporting your lower back with those hands. And just take some breath here. Remember, you can absolutely stay on those blocks. But if you are coming all the way up into the shoulder stand, maybe we just move them out of the way so you don't come back down onto them. Just breathe. Feel free here if you'd like to, to play a little bit with straddling the legs open or scissoring the legs back and forth. Or just stay still. We'll take another 3 or 4 breaths here. And then just for a couple of breaths, if you have the legs, if you're supported in Viparita Karani on those blocks, just stay there. But if you've come up into the shoulder stand and now you'd like to go into Halasana, let's just inhale, and then on an exhale, start to bend at the hips. Bring apparently the chair behind you. Ooh, I like the chair. We'll just breathe here. Noticing that the throat in this position is a little bit constricted. And just notice how that changes your breath. And to transition from there, you can take the inhale, bring the legs back up, and then slowly on the exhale, lower the body down. Remember that you might have blocks there or a blanket or something, so be sure to move it. Lower the hips down towards the ground, but keep the feet up in the air. And the shakes. Couple more. Inhale. Exhale, go ahead and bend the knees, bring the knees into the chest, bring the hands onto the shins. Give yourself a little bit of a squeeze here. Take a couple breaths. And we'll take the inhale. We'll drop the legs over towards the right side. And just hang out on the right side there for a moment. Take a fetal position, close the eyes. We've been on the back for several minutes. We just kind of want to let the body rest a little before we come up to a seated or a kneeling position. And when you do find yourself ready, we'll take that left hand and we'll just push the left hand down into the ground. We'll come up and let's find a tabletop position. We won't be on the knees for too long, but you do have that blanket handy maybe, so if you want to bring something underneath the knees for a little bit of extra comfort on those knees, go for it. But we'll find that tabletop position, right? So we'll bring the knees underneath the hips, untuck the toes, bring the hands underneath and the wrists underneath the shoulders, but spread those fingers out nice and wide. And I even like to set mine down so it's like pinky, pull it out, ring finger, stretch it, middle finger, stretch it, pointer finger, then thumb. Right? So you have a nice, wide grip on the ground. And then just start to take a couple of cat-cows here. So we'll take the inhale. Lift the chest, bring the gaze forward, lift the tailbone. And the exhale will round the back, pushing into the hands and the knees and the tops of the feet, rounding the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale through that tabletop pose, find that cow belly. The exhale, take the cat back. And take about, 4 or 5 more breaths here, but just follow your breath. And take your cat and your cow. So if there's any other little movement that would feel good in the body there, go for it. You don't have to just do a standard cat-cow. Maybe on the exhale, bring the hips back towards the heels while the arms get nice and long, stretching out the shoulders is awesome. You can take the inhale and just dive forward as you lift the chest and the tailbone and just kind of flow like that. Or on your inhales, you can look over opposite shoulders. Whatever feels good in your body right here. Let's take one more full round together and then we'll add here. So inhale, find that cow belly, lift the tailbone, lift the chest, let the shoulders sink away from the ears. On the exhale, round the back. Inhale, find that neutral spine. Exhale, just start to bring the hips back towards the heels. Full exhale right there. Come towards the child's pose. Take a breath there. Inhale when you're ready. We'll come back up to the tabletop pose. Tuck your toes this time, and then give yourself a full exhale. On the inhale, start to push into the hands, lifting the knees up off of the mat, coming towards your downward facing dog. Exhale, bring the knees back down. Inhale, lift the chest, cow belly. Toes are still tucked. Exhale, bring the hips back towards the heels, towards your child's pose. Full exhale right there, and that's what we'll do for a few breaths. Inhale, cow belly. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow belly. Exhale, child's pose. If you're on your own, inhale, cow belly. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow belly. Exhale, child's pose. One more time. Inhale, cow belly. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow belly. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, cow belly. Exhale, we'll meet in our downward facing dog, and then we'll take a couple of breaths here in this downward facing dog. Well, Ben, we practice a mudra. How about we practice a kriya, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're in our downward facing dog, right? Give yourself a nice full inhale. And a complete exhale, and then hold the breath out. And then with the breath out, suck in that belly, come to your cow belly pose, right? On the knees, lifting the chest, and you should feel that upper belly just sucking right up into Uddiyana without you having to do anything. Exhale back to your child's pose. Feel that, Ben? You can say no. Inhale. Tabletop. Exhale. Hit that downward facing dog, and exhale completely. Come down with the breath held. Find that cow belly. Feel that engagement in the belly. Feel that upper belly just suck up into the ribs there. Exhale back to your child's pose. And inhale, let's come up. Find that tabletop. Exhale to your downward facing dog. Full exhale right there in that downward facing dog. Inhale, let's bend the knees. Bring the gaze up by the hands. Step forward. And with the knees bent, exhale. And maybe grab a block or a book or whatever you're using. Exhale completely. Let the knees be bent. Inhale, let's come halfway up. Let's find our half forward fold. Ardha Uttanasana. Just bring the hands onto the shins. Reach forward with the crown of the head. Take a couple of breaths here. Take an inhale. Exhale, we can fold back forward, bending the knees a little or a lot, whatever you need. Let the neck go. And then slowly on an inhale, come up towards standing. Just let the hands hang as you do. Come all the way up to the top of the mat. And then allow the arms to get nice and long. Don't lock out the knees. And kick the heels out ever so slightly so the outsides of the feet are lined up with the outsides of the mat. Roll the shoulders up by the ears. Let them sink down towards the back body, and then let the arms again get nice and long, the hands get heavy. Yeah. Watch the breath. Watch the sensation of the breath. Find your balanced, smooth, continuous inhale and exhale if you've lost it. Knowing full well that the length of the inhales and the exhales can change at any moment, so adjust as you need. Pull the tailbone down towards the heels. Push down through the feet. Engage that lower belly still. Engage the pelvic floor still. Inhale as you start to sweep the arms out to the sides, up overhead. And then on the exhale, let's just fold forward, coming down to that Uttanasana. Using a block or not, bending the knees or not, just wherever your practice is right this second. On an inhale, we can come halfway up. We'll find Ardha Uttanasana. And then on the exhale, we'll fold back forward, bringing the hands down towards the ground, relaxing the neck, and with that engagement in the lower belly, sweep the arms out to the side, and let's bring them up overhead. Lift the chest, start to bring the gaze up towards the ceiling or towards the sky, wherever you're at. The exhale, we can just start to bring the hands back through heart center, back to our Tadasana pose, mountain pose. After that exhale is complete, let's do that again, half sun A. Bring the arms up, lift the chest, maybe the palms come together, maybe they don't, it doesn't matter. Exhale, flow all the way down. We'll take the halfway lift on the inhale, reaching forward at the crown of the head as you push down through the feet, and then on the exhale, fold forward again, coming to that Uttanasana. Then on the inhale, sweep the arms out to the sides. Let's bring them up overhead. In the exhale, back to your mountain pose, wherever your mountain pose is. Full exhale, another time, sweep the arms up. And on the exhale, as you hinge at the hips, fold forward. Bringing the hands down towards the ground, and if you're able to do this, let's take the two peace fingers, wrap them around the toes, and on an inhale, lift up about halfway, or start to lift up halfway. You won't go quite as far. Relax the neck though. Stretch out the backs of those shoulders. I've been on vacation all week, Ben. My shoulders actually feel pretty good because I've only touched a keyboard like once. That all changes Monday. Exhale completely. On the exhale, let's just let it go. Maybe start to bend the elbows a little bit out towards the side walls. And we'll come back up again with the hands bound. But you can do that with the peace fingers bound, or if you'd like to, we could just take the palms of the hands and slide them under 1 foot at a time so the toes come all the way up towards our ankles. Now bend the knees as much as you need here. We don't have to do this with straight knees. Actually, please don't. Because you'll make me look bad. Just kidding. The exhale, just relax the neck at all kinds. Give yourself a nice little bend in the knees. And when you're ready to inhale, start to come up halfway again. Of course, you're not going to go very far, but breathe in and out through the nose. Take an inhale wherever you are. The exhale, bend the knees, and then if you have the hands underneath the feet, one at a time, please. Take your hands back out, bend the knees quite a bit, relax the neck, and then come up on an inhale halfway up. Find Ardha Uttanasana, just unbound. Exhale, fold back forward, finding that Uttanasana, and then as you push down through the feet, bring the arms up overhead. Then on the exhale, just come back, finding Tadasana. Let's shake it out just a little bit there. Let's balance a little, and then we'll come back and we'll do a couple of more things here. So what I'd like you to do, man, who am I talking to? What I'd like you to do out there, man. Jeez. So just find a nice stance here, and what I like to do is even kind of like move a little bit from side to side as needed. Maybe do a little, no, don't do that. I just like to get Ben to do things on the other side of the curtain. But find the feet at about hips distance apart, right? And we're going to do a tree pose today. And what I sometimes like to do a tree pose is first lose my balance to find it, right? So let's just start on the left side, which what I'd like you to do is start on your strong side. For me, that's my left foot. If the right side for you is your strong balancing side, then start on that foot, okay? So what we'll do is find the strength in that standing leg first, and then pick whichever leg you're gonna lift up first off the floor. And then just kind of kick it from side to side, right? And allow yourself to lose that balance so you can find that balance on the standing leg. And then just bring that foot onto the inside of the calf. So for me, it's right foot on inside of left calf. Now, you could, of course, also just bring that leg all the way up onto the inside of the thigh. And you can stand up tall. You could bring the hands together in heart center. And just take a couple of breaths right here. And as you do this, like look out in front of you for something that's not going to move. That way you can focus your balance on that. Focus your gaze on that instead of worrying about your balance. Of course, I'm trying to look at this camera and stuff, trying to look cool while I do this, and I'm failing, so my balance is all over the place. Just breathe. And let's do this. Take your inhale. Bring the knee so it's straight out from the hip. Flex the toes up towards the knee on the floating leg. Take your inhale. On the exhale, kick that floating leg behind you as you hinge forward, moving towards a warrior three. Moving the legs around as you need. I mean, don't move your leg around. You would fall. Move your hands around as you need. To find your warrior three, and if that means you need to bring the hands down towards the ground, bring the hands down towards the ground. because I obviously do. Not looking cool on camera today, man.
I can't see.
Oh, then it's totally cool in here. It's like a party that you're missing. If you don't have the hands on the ground already, bring the hands down on an exhale and just start to find a standing split. And then find that engagement in the belly. Find that engagement in the pelvic floor. And on an inhale, start to come back up. Bring that knee straight out from the hip again. And then on the exhale, just let that foot come down towards the ground. Shake the feet out a little bit. My mat got all rolled up there. And then we'll go over to that other side. Now, now we're going over to the weaker side, right? Not weaker, but the side of us that has less balance. So if you need to come towards a wall or a bank of lockers, apparently, or anything that's around you to use as a prop, use it. And then we're going over to that other side. Oh, here comes Peg. So and if you could use Peg to balance. Perfect. Great. Lay right down on my mat. Anyway, so find that engagement in the right leg and find the strength in that right leg, and then just pick the opposite leg up off of the ground and do that same thing. Kick that leg around until you start to lose balance. Find that balance, and then just bring the foot onto the inside of the calf or up into the thigh, or you know what, it could just kickstand down there along the ankle. Find your tree pose. Bring the hands to wherever you feel those hands need to be, and take some breath. And then we'll visit Warrior 3 here on this side as well. So take the inhale, lift the knee, the opposite knee so it's straight out from the hip again. And on an exhale, just kick that leg behind you. Find some flexing or some pointing in the toes and the back foot. Push down through the standing leg and just breathe. And then with an exhale, when you're ready, you can bring the hands down, find that standing split. Or, standing 45-degree angle, if you're me. God, I need a new joke for this posture. I've been telling that same joke for like 6 years now. With that engagement in the belly, that engagement in the pelvic floor, take your inhale, start to come back up, bring the knee so it's straight out from that hip again, or as close to straight as possible. With an exhale, just set it down. Or, like mine did, come tumbling down. And then come back up to the top of your mat. Shake the legs out there just a little bit. Bring the big toes to touch, but kick the heels out so the outsides of the feet are again lined up with the outsides of the mat. Roll the shoulders up by the ears, just kind of let them sink back into the back body. Let the arms get nice and long. He's fine, she's fine. Take your exhale. And on an inhale, start to bend the knees and hinge at the hips as you bring the arms up overhead, finding your chair pose, Utkatasana. Let the shoulders sink. Take a quick look over the knees though. Make sure you can see your toes. If you can't, sit back just a little bit further and then bring the gaze back up. Inhale here. On the exhale, straighten the legs as you hinge at the hips, coming back down, finding your Uttanasana. Complete and full exhale right there. We'll take an inhale, we'll come halfway up, finding Ardha Uttanasana. The exhale, we'll fold, we'll bend the knees, plant the hands, step the feet back towards the back of the mat, excuse me, pig. Take your inhale here in your plank pose, and then on the exhale, bring the knees, the chest, and the chin down towards the ground. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift the chest, cobra pose. Exhale, back down towards the ground. Tuck the toes, inhale. Find your plank pose, exhale to your downward facing dog. Oh look, there's a downward facing dog next to me. Inhale, let's lift that right leg. Exhale, bring the knee forward, place the foot in between the hands, and then drop that back foot so it's about a 45-degree angle, so you're looking towards warrior one here. We've got a nice bend in that front knee, but that front knee is not over or in front of the ankle. Take the exhale. On the inhale, bring the arms up overhead, warrior one. Pull the hips forward. We want the hips to be kind of in line with the front of the mat, right? Exhale, just let the shoulders drip away from the ears. Take a couple of breaths right here. Inhale, reach the hands up. The exhale, bring the hands down towards the ground. Step the right foot back there to meet the left. Exhale, let's go through chaturanga, just bending the elbows, lowering the whole body onto the ground. Untuck the toes. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, come back down towards the ground, tuck the toes. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg. That's the left leg this time. Exhale, bring the foot forward. Find warrior one on this side. Adjust those feet first. Find the base of the posture. That front foot's going to have like a counterclockwise pressure to it, where the back foot's going to have a clockwise pressure. So you're like trying to push the feet in opposite directions, but of course they're not moving. Reach forward with the crown of the head as you take the inhale, coming up. Reaching the fingers up towards the sky. Pull the left hip back, right hip forward. Warrior one. Take a few breaths. Inhale, bring the chest up, bring the gaze up, exhale, float the hands back down towards the ground. Step that left foot back there to meet the right, exhale through chaturanga. And then maybe this time we just roll over the tops of the feet and we find our upward facing dog. Pulling the chest through the biceps, pushing down through the hands and the tops of the feet. Breathing, opening the shoulders, opening the chest. When you're ready on an exhale, let's roll over those toes. Come back to downward facing dog. Give yourself a couple breaths here. When you're ready on an inhale, bend the knees, bring the gaze up by the hands, step forward, and as you step forward, find that flat back. So you step forward to Ardha Uttanasana on the inhale, exhale, fold to Uttanasana. And then on the inhale, sweep the arms out to the sides, bring them up overhead, bend the knees, find your chair pose. Exhale as you sink into that chair pose. Inhale, reach the arms up. On the exhale, hinge forward as you bring the hands behind you. This is a posture I invented called chair plane. Nobody's ever done this before. You're the first. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold the wings back. Do that again. Forward. Inhale, back to your chair pose. Exhale, fold forward as you straighten the legs, back to Uttanasana. Halfway up on your inhale, finds Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, we'll fold forward, plant the hands, bend the knees, step the feet back, find that plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, find a back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts on the inhale, steps forward on the exhale, set the back foot down, returning to warrior one on this side. If you'd like to, have a block out in front of you, or a water ball, or whatever you got. Reach the arms behind you on an inhale, hold through the exhale. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Warrior one. Reach up on an inhale, straighten the leg on an inhale, and on the exhale, start to fold forward over the straightened leg, coming towards your pyramid pose, bringing the hands down onto that block or all the way onto the ground. I just like to use a block because it brings the floor closer to me, and I feel like my body is much more open when that happens. Reach forward on an inhale as you push both feet into the ground, and then on the exhale, maybe you have just a little bit more room to fold into as the upper body relaxes and the chin comes in towards the chest. After an exhale, take an inhale, come halfway up, bring the hands back onto the block if you've taken them all the way down towards the ground. Hold that engagement in the belly through your exhale. On the inhale, sweep the arms back out to the side, bring them up overhead. Exhale into that warrior one. Inhale, lift the chest, maybe the gaze comes out towards the ceiling. Then on the exhale, we can float the hands back down towards the mat, step that right foot back there to meet the left. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale for a back bend. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, the foot comes forward, plants it between the hands. Set yourself up for warrior one on this side. Remembering to find the strength in the pose first. Bring the hands behind you on an exhale. Hold through the inhale. Hold through the exhale, because I called it wrong. Inhale, bring the arms up, warrior one. Exhale as the shoulders sink away from the ears. Pull that left hip back. Breathe. Inhale, we can lift the chest. Exhale, hold. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Lift the chest, bring the gaze up overhead ever so slightly. Then the exhale, reach forward as you fold forward, finding that pyramid pose on this side, finding the block if you need. Setting yourself up here. Find the stability in the pose first as you're halfway folded forward. Let the shoulders sink away from the ears. Take an inhale, and then on the exhale, just let the upper body start to relax over that left leg, letting the chin come in towards the chest. The eyes are closed. The breath is balanced and smooth, and it's continuous. The transition, when you're ready, we'll take the inhale, we'll come up halfway. You can either bring the hands onto a block, or of course you can just have them back there on the hips. I just like to use a block. Hold there for a breath or two as you reach forward with the crown of the head. And then when you're ready with an inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, bend the knee, warrior one. Inhale, lift the chest, gaze up. Exhale, bring the hands back down towards the mat. Step the left foot back there to meet the right. Exhale through your chaturanga. Inhale, finding your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in this downward facing dog. Take an inhale. The exhale, just start to bend the knees. Bring the knees down towards the mat. Untuck the toes. Inhale, lift the chest. Bring the gaze forward. Exhale, bring the hips back towards the heels. Child's pose. Your breath, when you're ready, take your inhale, come back, find your tabletop pose. Exhale, set the hips down to the right or the left side of the body. Kick the legs out in front of you. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Bring the hands down towards the feet. Paschimottanasana. Flex the toes, bringing them up towards the knees. Bring the chest forward. The shoulders sink. Big inhale. Exhale, just fold, letting the back round. Bring the chin in towards the chest, the forehead towards the knees or towards the shins. Or maybe your forehead touches your shins. I don't know. When your time, let go, take the inhale, come back up towards seated. Bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the ground. Bring the hips a little bit closer to the heels, and on an exhale, just lower down onto your back. Right where we started. Bring the hands flat on the ground. Walk the heels back again until you can just barely graze the tips of the middle fingers against the backs of the heels. Take the exhale. Inhale, lift the hips, lift the tailbone. One vertebrae at a time, start to bring the chest up towards the chin. And then maybe we interlace the fingers and we bring the shoulders underneath the body. Really reaching up with the pelvis, really reaching the chest in towards the chin. Close the eyes and take some breath. And let's roll the shoulders back out from underneath the body. Uninterlace the fingers, and then reach around and grab opposite shoulders, like giving yourself a little hug here. Lift the elbows up, so maybe one of the wrists is resting on your forehead. Take an inhale. The exhale, start to lower the body back down all the way to the ground. Point the elbows up as you do. Once the lower back comes down on the ground, take an inhale and bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little bit of a squeeze here. Maybe roll a little bit from side to side and back and forth. And let's just reach up in between the legs. Grab the soles of the feet. Let the soles of the feet reach up for the ground. Close the eyes. Just take happy baby here. Pull the knees down towards the mat as you reach up with the heels. If you'd like to roll a little bit from side to side, go for it. And then your time, we can take the inhale, bring the knees back into the chest, bring the knees towards each other, maybe wrapping the arms around the shins, grabbing opposite elbows or opposite wrists, or just grabbing onto the shins underneath the knees, whichever is your practice will allow for today. Back of the head resting on the ground. When you're ready to inhale, do so. And then on the exhale, bring the forehead up towards the knees as you round up into a little ball here. And then hold the breath out. I know. I tell you to keep the breath going continuously, but now hold the breath out until You need to inhale. And on the inhale, lower the head back down towards the ground. Full inhale. Exhale, round back up into that little ball, and then hold the breath out again. Inhale, lower the head back down when you're ready, and we'll just do that one more time. Exhale, round into that ball. And then the inhale, lower the body back down towards the mat, straighten the legs out down towards the bottom of the mat. This time just let the legs completely flop open, let the arms come out by the sides. Let the palms be face up. And let's just bring the awareness towards the lower part of our bodies. So all the way from the tips of the toes to the tops of the hips. Take a nice big full inhale, and as you do so, engage all those muscles. Hold, keep engaging. And then on the exhale, just let the lower body relax, let the legs flop open. Even opening the mouth to let that out with a sigh if that feels good. And then just let that lower body go. Let it be held and supported by the mat and by your practice. Don't put any effort, you're just lying there. Then we're going to do the same thing with the upper body. So from the tips of the fingers, all the way up the arms, from the top of the pelvis, all the way to the tops of the shoulders. Engage, engage, engage on an inhale. Don't make a fist with the hands. Don't lift the hands up off the mat. Just engage all those muscles. But let the legs relax. Hold, hold, hold. And when you're ready, exhale, just letting the entire upper body join the lower body without any effort, being held. And now for the head, from the tops of the shoulders at the base of the neck all the way to the crown of the head, engage all those muscles. And if I do that, just start to bring all the stuff, all your face in towards your nose. Hold that through the inhale, engage, hold. Exhale, just sigh that out and just let the head and the upper body and the lower body be completely held and supported by your practice in this space right now. Let any control of your breath go. But let that awareness of the breath remain. Let the sensation that the breath brings remain. And if you'd like to, you could return one hand to the belly, one hand to heart center. And take rest. can just start to let the thumbs and the fingers start to move around a little bit. The toes start to wave a little bit up and down, side to side. And then the wrists and the ankles can start to move around a little bit, and the knees and the elbows can come into the wiggle party. The shoulders and the hips can join. Just starting to move the whole body around, maybe even letting the neck move, bringing the one ear down towards the mat and then the other. And then with the neck back at neutral, you can take a nice long full inhale as you reach the arms up overhead, reaching for the wall behind you, flexing the toes up towards the knees, reaching forward with the heels, engaging. And with an exhale, just relaxing. Bend the knees, bringing the knees up towards the chest, and on an exhale, you can just roll over towards the right side. Again, spending just a moment here in this fetal position. And we can use that left arm to help us come back up. We can find a comfortable seated position. Maybe you want to sit up on a blanket or a block. We'll just be here for a moment. But find a comfortable seat. Sit up tall. Shoulders can come up by the ears. And they can sink down towards the back pockets. You can bring the hands onto the shins, knees or thighs, palms up, palms down. Or if you'd like to, you could bring them together at heart center in Anjali Mudra. And just for this last moment here, these last couple of breaths, allow yourself time to have gratitude for giving yourself this time today. There's a lot going on out there. But you took this time, and you took it just for yourself. You came together with your community virtually, with your breath and your practice. It's time well spent. It was an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you this morning. Thank you all so much for coming out. Hari Om. Tat Sat. Well, thanks everybody. You can't see Ben, but he's crouching just off camera. He's probably about to end the live stream. So it was absolutely wonderful to have you all here this morning, whoever it is that's out there. And yeah, we hope to see you next time. Ben, next week's supposed to be beer yoga. Is it beer yoga?
I have not heard back.
So probably not. It'll probably be in either studio class or a virtual class.
Yeah.
So, but don't forget, Wednesdays, yoga in the park by the river at Skinner's Beach starts up. So check us out for that. And yeah, it was great to have you all here. You all have a great Saturday. And we'll see you next time. Bye.